It's corny with that Illuminati mess.
The ancient bloodlines is back, and my ancestry says Benin. And you niggas screaming Illuminati is whack. Y'all niggas never talk about how Haiti used African spirituality to beat Napoleon's white ass. Any nigga screaming somebody Illuminati is an agent in the mind. They're disconnected from the spiritual power, the real power that runs this entire shit. If they ain't showing you how to beat Illuminati, it's because they Illuminati, bitch. Tupac said it. Illuminati killed the Illuminati. Pac shot 2 out-of-duty police officers and the charges was dropped. That ain't Illuminati. That ain't white supremacy. That's the power of God, the glory of God to awaken you, you stupid motherfuckers.
Hey, 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 hey. Whoa, it's the chillest. It's the Iggity Illest, the urban guru. Hey y'all, peace. Welcome back to a special episode of Hip Hop Astrology TV. Today, I want to get into a great man, the greatest of all time in my book, the Priesthood's book. My self-ministered Jew. When I say the Priesthood, that's who that is. The great Bobby Hemmitt. To borrow a paraphrase from the great Nori. You know what I'm saying? We want to start paying homage and tributes to people who are still alive, who have been inspirational in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait till they long and gone. Give them they flowers where they can inhale them and they can still smell them. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know about Bobby Hemmitt, man, you can YouTube Bobby. You're gonna hear some crazy information. In fact, let me get this disclaimer. Today's episode, in spirit of Bobby Hemmitt, is going to be what they call explicit language at some points. So if you're not into explicit language, this is your time now to go ahead and just drop off, dial out. You know what I mean? Tune off. You know what I mean? If you don't like cursing, MFs, shit, things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? Now is your time to get the children away. Now is your time to also say, you know what? I don't even want to hear no curse words. That's not where I'm at. That's not in my vibration. Now is your time to dial away. You've been warned. All right. All right. So, man, Bobby is a monster, man. I like to think that Bobby certainly gave the priesthood the blueprint that gave a lot of theoretical information. And it was enough to inspire you to tap into the godhood. Bobby was the type that dealt with the true and living God is inside of you, and you got to activate your shit. You the superhero, all right? Heru being Horus, which is a play of Jesus and whatnot, but you the super God. You, yourself, you the super God, and you got to come online. That's how he get down. You got to learn how to come online and unleash the God shit that's inside of you, okay? I want to talk about that today, all right? But listen, before I get started, let me roll to the break.
Are you plagued by trauma, abandonment, or abuse? The Imagination Guru has helped thousands just like you overcome emotional memories that prevent you from happiness and success using the power of your mind. Overcome your trauma, overcome your abandonment, overcome your abuse by first making the decision right now to call the Imagination Guru at 1-877-345-3797 and live the life you deserve.
Everybody, my name is Shannon, and I'm going to give a shout out to the Priesthood for being a part of the Toa Love Fund and the Imagination Guru, and also Prosperity Investment Group. All of these items have been just an inspiration and something that's been helping me just grow tremendously, spiritually and financially. And with that's it. Peace.
All right, so that's my brother at the Imagination Guru, one half of the Priesthood Minister Jew. You want to get with him, theimaginationguru.com. In fact, listen, today what I'm going to share with you about some scripture, you want to get into this new membership called Quantum Scriptures. We're talking about states of consciousness. We ain't talking about looking at the Bible from a historical, archaeological standpoint or a religious point of view. We're talking about states of consciousness, and that's dope. All right, so you want to get there, theimaginationguru.com. Go to the Quantum Imaging membership. It's going to be a pop-up menu, and you're going to see Quantum Scriptures. Get inside of that, man, because we're talking about taking your understanding to the God level and transversing different planes of consciousness, man. This is why these people in the Bible, they will have name changes because they represent different states of consciousness. Just like the Nation of Islam would take your name and give you an X, and then you would have to earn a Muhammad. You understand what I'm saying? And all traditions, for the most part, when you go through the awakening process, you, to a degree, you evolve past your birth given name. Okay. All right. So let's get into this, man. Let's just go straight into Bobby. Minister Jew has sent me a link of some Bobby shit that I ain't never heard before. And I'm listening to it, and he dropped his birthday, 11/28/1961. Now, you've been paying attention to these videos. I've been doing this solar eclipse that was taking place on August the 21st, that big eclipse. And then there was an eclipse 2 weeks before that, a lunar eclipse on August the 7th that took place in Aquarius. And I was been blowing the horn about these two eclipses. So Bobby gave his birthday up as November 28th, 1961. And the first eclipse, when he was a baby, in February of that year. So at this point, on February the 4th, at this point, Bobby is only 3 months old? Not even a solid 3. All right. And on February the 4th, 1962, there's a solar eclipse at 15 degrees Aquarius. Now, remember, the Earth is tilted on the axis, so sometimes when you look at the planets in the sky, it's really one sign off when you look at what constellation it's in front of, okay? Depending what time of the year that you make the observation as well, okay? So, on August the 7th this year was the lunar eclipse at 15 degrees Aquarius. You see it. It looks like it's exactly in the same spot right there in the middle of the Capricorn constellation. So I said, shit, man, listen. Within 6 months, man, we going to hear something about the great Bobby Hemmitt. So let me go ahead and give the praises due. And let me hopefully intercede and allow great energy to come towards our brother Bobby, because if you know anything about the brother Bobby has suffered a stroke a couple years back. Okay. All right. And I don't want to say suffered, because all this shit is spiritual shit. All right. So let's get into the shit, man. Let's get into the shit. When you dealing with the black diaspora, the race war shit that's in America, all right, because it's very real, all right, then we have to put on the proper lenses on how to look at this shit, man. Okay? So let me take a little drink. And I'm an old head now, so I drink champagne. Can't do the hard stuff no more. I abused that when I was a teenager. And so you have predominantly in America, okay, which is the melting pot, which is the gumbo, which is all the shit gets stirred up here so you can get some good ass gumbo. Okay. This is what makes America great, is because of the diversity, believe it or not. Okay. On one level, you got the great migration of everybody and their mama getting over here. And then on another level, you can look at this whole thing like blacks ain't treated fairly, the slave shit, the civil rights, the false contracts, and all the shit. The 14th Amendment, 13th Amendment is really bullshit, and you know, their privileges, they're not rights. We hear all this, okay? But on, like I said, on a whole nother level, you got everybody coming in this motherfucker and they balling. This the land of the milk and the honey, and they getting it, okay? So everybody, for the most part, starts off in Christianity, the church, because it's the predominant religion inside of the United States of America, okay? And when you leave the church, sometimes your first school of thought will be Islam. And for a small portion of people, their first school of thought becomes Islam because they mom and daddy or grandparents and uncles was in the Nation of Islam, so they came up there, okay? So Christianity is kind of by default, okay? So let's just keep it close to the lineage. And then if you evolve past Christianity and you start looking at yourself as a child of God, but you want to stay inside of the Bible, then you become Hebrew Israelite. That's what you do. You start recognizing that shit, we the Israelites, okay? And then there's another state of conscious that comes online that says, you know what, fuck the Bible altogether. You know what I'm saying? I need to go to a new shit. I go to Islam. And when you in America and you black, your Islamic standpoint is twofold. In its history of unfolding, it could be the Moorish Science Temple, but the more popular one is the Nation of Islam. And then you have subsects up under that, which then would turn into the 5% nation, the gods in the earth. So when they say, what up, God, you God body, that stems from the Nation of Islam that comes under the Islam banner. And then when you look at Philadelphia, who has, man, Philadelphia is like going to fucking Medina or Mecca overseas and shit. It is a strong, now it is a strong Salafi Sunni population, okay? But Islam has its origins in Philadelphia, spawning off of the Nation of Islam, irregardless to what it is now, okay? And then when you don't want to deal with the Bible no more, you don't want to deal with Islam, then you move over to what we call the RBG. And these are the people who fly the red, black, and green flag. This is your Garveyites. This is the Kemetic. This is the Black Power. This is the Hotep movement. Okay. And to a degree, when you get tired of that on the surface and you start dealing more with the spiritual Africa, then you move down into what's known as Ifa, or what you would know as the voodoo shit. Okay. All right. And so those are really the states of consciousness that we go through, far as the schools of thoughts that we mainly adopt. All right. And I ain't lying. You can just look at this shit. Just look at it and watch the process, and you will see that it's the truth. All right. Now, those are the main three, the coming from the Bible standpoint. Hebrew Israelite can fall under that because they still represent the Old Testament, the Islam, and then the RBG, the African boys, all right, who want to give props to the motherland. All right. Now, there are only two perceptions, though, that run this whole shit. Okay? I'm going to be very clear about this. There's only two perceptions that run this whole entire shit. Those two perceptions is good and evil. You can call that shit God and the devil. I'm quite sure my spirit is telling me I'm going to have people coming on commenting. It's going to be Yeshua and Satan. It's going to be Allah and Shaitan. It's going to be, from my Kemetic people, it's going to be Osiris and Set, right? It's the same shit. No matter how you slice it. All of the spiritual books, and I'm going to call them spiritual, the religious texts, are at the core talking about the same thing. It's just a different story, which is a different place, which is a different person. But at the core, it's talking about the same goddamn shit. All right. All right. See, let me back it up a little bit. When you're dealing with the Bible, there's you know that this shit is dealing with mysteries. If you walking around and you a grown ass man or a woman, and you think that a man was in the belly of a well, then there's some more unfolding that needs to take place within your consciousness, because we know that the book is heavily laced with symbolism. It's heavily laced with symbolism. But that's why I said you want to get to this quantum scriptures class, this membership that Minister Jew got, because now somebody's finally coming to show you what this symbolism means and how it represents a state of your own consciousness. The shit that they're talking about is actually glands in your goddamn brain. Okay? The Bible is a book of physiology. Then it's also a study of the cosmos, and then how your physiology relate with the cosmos. All right? It's layered. All right? So in Matthew 13:10 through 17, we want to talk about the parable. And the disciples asked him, Why do you speak to them in parables? And Jesus said to them, to you it has been given to know the secrets. Look at this shit. The secrets of the kingdom of heaven. But to them it has not been given. What do you mean? The secrets to the kingdom of heaven. So when you want to fuck with this heavenly realm, the divine world shit, everybody don't know that. The laymen, the people don't know it. Only the initiates, known as the disciples, knew the secrets to heaven, to the mysteries. Okay? So if the scripture is flat out pointing out to some mysterious shit, if we want to go into the Islamic shit, you got the Sufis who deal with the mystical aspect, and we know the Quran is laced. The Quran would talk about, and over it is 19. What are you talking about? Over what? It's talking about hiding this book in this secret place. So the Quran has this secret place, okay? And then shit, you get into the African aspect, the RBG aspect. That whole Kemetic African history is mysteries. These are people who are walking around with masks on their head. So I don't have to even elaborate on the mysteries dealing with the African shit. Y'all all right? All right. That's what Bobby would say. All right. So there's two perceptions that's running this shit. The good shit and the evil shit. Okay? And you got to hurry up and understand that the evil shit is really the God. See, if you ask a person, is God evil? Do God create evil? They gonna tell you that no, God don't create evil. The devil creates evil. People have their own free will to create evil. That's what they gonna say. And I can hear y'all saying the shit now. But I only want to challenge. I'm gonna challenge all y'all school of thought. Fuck it. All right. So let's deal with the biblical standpoint of those who don't believe that God creates the evil, because in Isaiah 45:7, if you fucking with the Bible, then you got to understand that the conversation says, I make peace and create evil. So anybody believing in the goddamn Bible, your God creates the motherfucking evil. Okay? That's that. All right. Now we move over to motherfucking Islam, then we know that Allah said he's created all things, and then the folklore surrounds this whole conversation that Allah is kicking it in heaven with the devil, when the devil gets mad at Allah for creating man, because the devil is going to have to bow down to man. And then and the devil gets pissed off. But nevertheless, it is a known fact in both tradition, Islam and Christianity. And Islam is a continuation of Christianity because the whole Quran talks about Moses more than it talks about damn Muhammad. All right. And I don't want to say damn Muhammad in a mean way. Peace be upon the prophet. OK. And so it's a continuation. So therefore, they tied at the hip. OK. So we take care of that. All right. In the African pantheon of Egypt, the evil brother of Osiris is Set. OK. So they're showing you that the evil shit and the good shit is brothers. They akin. The Bible later mimics this story and comes up with Cain and Abel to show you that the goddamn shit that you call good and evil is motherfucking twins. Twins is something that look alike, but yet they're not alike, but yet they look alike. They're the same. So on the surface, you think this shit is two different goddamn things, but truth is identical. Okay. This is why the scripture says I create peace and I create the goddamn evil. Okay. So the two perceptions is either God is in control of this whole shit, or your perception of giving the power away to the goddamn white man is running this whole goddamn thing. And that's some shit that's fucking you up. Okay. I just got to keep it 100 with you. See, when you're promoting, you can't listen. You got the conspiracy side of this shit that's keeping you in lockdown. And then you got the God side of this shit that's going to activate you. Okay. So you still got people running around here teaching the conspiracy shit because that's all they taught all their goddamn life. Okay. And that's the shit, again, that's locking you down. So that kind of conversation would turn into the goddamn hurricane coming, and then it's some weather war shit that's taking place, and the white man is creating the goddamn hurricane. God damn it, hurricanes come every goddamn season. Cut the shit. That don't mean that the technology, the harp and shit ain't available. But you have to understand, even if it is the white man creating the shit, where the hell is your ancestors and where the hell is your God? What are they doing? In fact, we like to say that the spirit world is more intelligent and is all wise and all knowing. Why the hell are they allowing for the hurricane to take place? Why ain't they interceding on your goddamn behalf? Because now we got a disconnect. We don't call that spiritual power over here. We got a disconnect somewhere. Let's see, either we gonna own up to this God shit, or you cooked, and you been cooked for a long time. Okay? And I'm talking about as a collective consciousness, which will be a whole group of motherfucking individuals. All right? And so you would hear this shit that the white man is doing this. And I had a conversation going back and forth with a brother, Lee Antoine, right here on YouTube and shit. And I want to thank you for the dialogue. And listen, man, anytime I get into a dialogue with anybody and we going back and forth and the name calling get to going back and forth, I understand that's cultural expression. That's hip hop to me. That's the era we come from. But I will and I did put on the record that this shit ain't nothing personal to you. I'm talking about the ideology, the principle, because I don't even know you. None of y'all like that. All right. So it's about the idea of the shit that we talking about. All right. So, you know, you hear shit that would deal with the white man is the MK Ultra. They running these motherfucking psyops programs and shit. And every time some shit go wrong, motherfuckers is coming out the woodworks to show you how the white man created the shit. And then the question really needs to be, if you know how he created this motherfucking shit, then why can't you create some shit that's gonna beat that shit and gonna neutralize that shit? That's the question. See, this shit gets real simple. When you start having conversations with the priesthood, this shit is gonna boil down to some goddamn action. What is the goddamn plan of action? And it always comes up void when you ask motherfuckers that kind of shit. All right? Because and I tell you why. Because you don't never see yourself beating the white boy if you're going to keep giving the white boy credit like that. Okay? Because he's too smart. He's using weather technology. He's using all these other shit that, you know, the cell phone waves to fry your motherfucking brain. Get the fuck out of here. You know how many waves is bouncing around here and this motherfuckers around here still reaching motherfucking success, which is defined as anything that they want, they are acquiring. Nothing is stopping them. And then it amazes me that motherfuckers think that, you know, goddamn, you think Illuminati killed Prince? They had to wait for this motherfucker to go to the hospital. You think Illuminati killed Dick Gregory? They had to wait for his ass to go to the hospital. Why they got to wait till motherfuckers go to the hospital? Do you run the mathematics behind that shit? Me and Minister Jew was talking about this shit. You would have to have a motherfucking either doctors on the payroll at random hospitals throughout America that just so happen to be the hospital that your celebrity is going to go to, right? Or you're going to have to make a last minute call and get a doctor on the motherfucking payroll to administer the goddamn poison to kill a motherfucker at the very last minute. Or the last option is a strange doctor who ain't never been in this motherfucking facility is all of a sudden going to have a goddamn access code and shit and get past the motherfucking employee checkpoints and come in and everybody in the surgery ain't never seen this motherfucking doctor and this motherfucker going to administer the goddamn poison. The white man ain't got to motherfucking wait for you to go to the goddamn hospital if he going to get you, because your whole concept of this motherfucker is he's beating you. So why do he have to go to diabolical schemes to fuck you up? Okay? Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I want to be clear. It's not that it ain't never been a plan and a conspiracy. Neo-Nazis and KKK shit is very real. Confederate States of America is very real. But the shit ain't deep as you motherfuckers make it seem. That's the truth. But see, here's the shit. And this Abe Lincoln shit gets up under motherfucker skin. Okay? You have the spirit world will use white people to facilitate your freedom, called abolitionists and called motherfucking Northern Union armies, soldiers. I want to talk about the spirit of this shit. This ain't got nothing to do with no goddamn you're glorifying the white man. And I hear this shit, right? Me and the brother was going back and forth on this shit. And I said, I ain't glorifying the motherfucking white man. I'm mentioning a surface fact on the record. But when you say that there's a goddamn conspiracy to free niggas because the North wanted to make more money, but the North didn't chain niggas up and keep us as chattel slaves, and we free right now to even have this conversation, and motherfuckers is doing whatever it is that they want to do, you keep putting us back under the rulership of the goddamn white man. That's the white man worship right there. I'm just making a surface fact that the spirit is so motherfucking dope that it'll use white folks to fight their own to get us motherfucking free. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the spirit that's running this shit. All right? And so you got to pick a side. Either if you're going to tell the story that the white man is running this shit and there's always a goddamn diabolical plot, then you should follow that up with a solution on how you can dismantle that program. It's real simple. See, the other side of that shit is when you understand that this whole thing is God, and you start understanding the symbolism and how it corresponds to certain motherfucking principles what's inside of you. Then you start the motherfucking awakening process. What is the awakening process so that shit don't look like it's too fucking philosophical and shit? We talking about turning on the dormant genes that's inside of you. We talking about turning on that part of the brain, what they say, 90%, some even say 95% that we don't even use. Hence some applications like meditation. Right? On how to start turning on the goddamn super shit inside of you. Where you can heal faster. Where you start to get motherfucking trance or clairvoyant states of consciousness, or what I like to call transcendental states of consciousness, the psychic phenomenon, when you have the ability to see some shit unfold before it actually happens in this quote unquote space-time continuum real reality. Where did the information come from? How were you able to pick up on it and see it? And then there's another level to this shit where your mind can start to think about some shit, and then those thoughts will materialize as a random external event. Okay? And that's where you really want to get to. How can your mind create what appears to be random events that go into the favor of collective humanity? That's the shit that you need to be on. That's the priesthood type shit right there. And when I say that shit, I'm talking about of old priesthoods, and they understood divine law. You understand what I'm saying? All right. And so you got to stay away from the dialogue that's going to lock you down. The white man shit is doing this, the white man doing that. And brother, listen, in your brain, there's a gland called the amygdala, the Amy G. Dollar, as I call her. The brain is studying you and is responding off of your perceptions. Let's be very clear about that shit. It is responding off of your perceptions. Women, for the most part, some women see an insect, a spider, they scream. A man, on the most part, see it and he says, it's just a fucking spider. Two different realities, same thing. Why? Because the perceptions are different. So the lady who screams, her gland, the amygdala, says, oh, she doesn't like this. Spider, negative charge. It stamps spider as negative charge. This state of consciousness, which is nothing more than light wave energy, because when you see an object, you're just looking at light is all you're looking at. Okay? So this light wave energy that is bouncing off of your, what's called the occipital lobe, the back of your brain that's responsible for sight. Okay. This light wave energy is now about to be classified inside or stored in your hippocampus, another gland in the brain that's responsible for memory. And it files it away and says, this is negative memory. Spider. So you got the amygdala, whose job is to stamp it, and the hippocampus job is to store it. So then when she sees spider again, there's automatically a replay signal that goes off because it ensures her survival. Spider, scream, run, stay alive. So when you keep hearing Illuminati, conspiracy shit, this is really putting you in a state of fear. And fear immobilizes the motor cortex, the region of the brain that's responsible to get you to take action. And this is why there's never, ever been a successful collective action in a sense that says, we will end racism with this amongst black folks raising that particular action. See, here's the question for my Abe Lincoln haters. What has been greater than the Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation from black folks as an independent free people or a collective people who want to take the destiny in their own goddamn hands against the white man? So you got to see this shit for what it's worth. And then what gets me too, motherfuckers won't expatriate, meaning they won't leave the United States of America, but you want to stay in the belly of the beast, as you call it, and you want a motherfucking wine. See, you're going to have to allow all that motherfucking fear shit, because you can get to the godhood by fear, but it's only when your back is up against the wall that you have no place to go but forward and through the goddamn obstacles that you see. And out of that fear, you become victorious. And that's dangerous because you're waiting to purposely get pushed up against a goddamn wall. And it's called, enough of you have to be in Hurricane Katrina. And when all of you not experiencing it, that's not even enough to be the catalyst to spark what you think the revolution should look like. The truth of the matter is you don't know what the fuck the revolution looks like. And it's right in front of your face. It didn't already happen. So now I got to explain that shit. Because you got to understand that the spirit world is running this whole goddamn shit. And you free. Y'all all right? Because you free. You free. Motherfuckers can't grasp that concept and they tell you, I ain't free. The new form of slavery. You heard of the prison industrial complex? My question is, why don't Minister Farrakhan and Black America get together and say, fuck it, since it's private prisons, we should buy motherfucking prisons. We can make money off the prison. We can feed families from the prison. And most importantly, since we black and we know so much goddamn shit, then we can provide the successful rehabilitation for the goddamn inmates. What's stopping you from buying the prison? See? All right. And so I was going to build on some shit. But I was talking about the hating shit with the Lincoln shit, right? Listen, again, they're going to tell you you under a new form of slavery. It's only expanded. It only got clever. This person that thinks like this sees themselves as a slave. And I ain't talking about the philosophical shit. We all got passions. We all got things that we want. So we're a slave to materialism. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about in direct reference to your motherfucking political status and motherfucking law and how you perceive yourself within. Shit, you're a divine being. How the hell you a slave? You could have been, but you're not. All right. So I ain't got to spend no more time on that shit. All right. It's only two perceptions that run this shit. You want to get onto the God side. That's the Bobby Hemmitt side. You want to get on to the God side and activate this shit and understand that you are always in motherfucking control. In the moment that anybody comes in direct opposition to that shit, they're going to get smashed. All right? You ain't even got to do shit. But pray to the motherfucking God that you say you believe in, and that shit going to get handled. How about that? See, you know what the problem is? We say it all the time. I'll tell you what the problem is. You niggas is scared as a collective group of people to get on the phone to God and make one collect call to show a goddamn divine sign of intervention because now is your time and you done had a motherfucking enough. So let me show you what that looked like. Imagine it's 1995. It's October. Millions and millions and millions of black folks are at the Million Man March, the first one, the bigger one. And the call was given right then and there, live on the spot, that we all going to say the same chant or the same prayer and ask for a sign on the count of 3. And millions of people are resonating this one call up into the ethers to vibrate to go to the universal fatherly and motherly God. Show a divine sign because now is the time that we stand up and we take the destiny in our own hands. You know why that doesn't happen? Because at the heart of hearts, for the most part, majority of the people don't believe that that God, that invisible force, will give them a motherfucking sign. When you gonna call on the God, man? When you gonna call on Yahshua? When you gonna call on Yahweh? When you gonna call on Allah? When you gonna call on Amin-Ra, the hidden God? What you waiting on? And I'm gonna tell you, I just told you, the perception of this shit is misconstrued. You always gotta see the shit happening and understand the divinity and all this shit. And I'm gonna come off the gas with this. And I'm talking, I'm a guy who held a dead daughter. Twin girls. I always say the shit. So my concept of reality and knowing the truth of the mysteries, because when I'm holding this dead daughter, there's a bright ass light in the picture, which is the human soul. So I know the truth about reality. The body is light. All this shit is about light code energy. So you can't be afraid when you in this shit because it locks down your motherfucking light code energy. But I'm holding a dead daughter, so I'm telling you as a father, as a man, there is no other death relationship that is more sentimental than that one. Your mama's supposed to die before you in the age theory. Your daddy, your brother could. You know, you understand what I'm saying? But your daughter? Come on, man. You name any dynamic of a relationship. That one there is the most intimate, and that's why it's called the daddy-daughter dance at the wedding. It's the most intimate one. Okay? Because that's the heaven and earth energy is combined. All right? And so with that, man, tribute to my man Bobby. I love you. We love you, the priesthood. If you, like I said, if you ain't up on them, man, learn how to think outside the box. The priesthood is the physical application of how this shit work. $4 million in testimonials showing people how to use the power of their mind. TheImaginationGuru.com. Click on the memberships tab. You can get at me at myastrologycoach.com. Go to the shop tab. Go to the new classes. I'm going to show you how dope this shit really gets. I got a class coming up that's going to start, when is that? October the 22nd. This is a picture of an actual devout devotee of me and the teachings that I offer, that I taught privately, who took these principles and understood it for real, and she has reached levels of enlightenment where her face glows, and then when you take pictures of her, she becomes transparent. My class is called the Cosmic Light Body. You energy, you the God. You can transcend this shit anytime you want to, like the real masters of the East do. You can create phenomenon in this reality like you want to, like the real masters of the West do. Priesthood. MyAstrologyCoach.com, the shop tab, classes. Get in this class. I leave y'all in peace.
Prophecy is what we all have to go by now.